Hi, today we are presenting our study. The title is TEK in River Fishing and Freshwater Fish in Tsou Culture and Language. And I would like to present our research team.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lin-Chien Tung.
Hello, everyone. I'm Peresang Sukinarhimi.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tzu-Yu.
And I'm Paichi Shen, and we are from the Institute of Education at National Yat-sen University. And this study is funded by National Museum of Marine Biology and Aquarium and the National Science and Technology Council. So first, I would like to give you a quick overview of the indigenous groups in Taiwan. As you can see at the map, there are 16 official indigenous groups in Taiwan, spread out all over Taiwan, and each of the group has its own distinct language and culture. However, due to their small populations and remote locations and other social political factors, the languages and cultures of these indigenous peoples are rapidly disappearing. Today, indigenous schools begin to actively revive indigenous languages, but indigenous school teachers find integrating indigenous culture and language in the curriculum challenging. Next. So due to this the rationale, we have this fundamental belief that languages are the carrier and soul of culture. So every extinction of language is a great loss to human civilization. So for decades, UNESCO and many institutions around the globe have been dedicated to language conservation and revitalization. Next. So in addition to promoting legislation to protect native language education, Taiwanese government is also actively seeking collaboration between research institutes and museums, hoping to find a model that supports the preservation of language and culture. So this study is a part of the national project organized by the National Museum of Marine Biology and Aquarium, sought to collaborate with indigenous schools by bringing in informal science education resources. Continue. So this research collaborated with indigenous elders in the Tsou community in a mountainous area in central Taiwan, as you can see in the map here. And the curators from the local nature and cultural center also helped to investigate the Tsou language, culture, and its traditional ecological knowledge of fish and fishing. Next. So who is Tsou? So Tsou means human in Tsou's native language. The region where Tsou people lives are widely spread across the southeast part of Central Mountain Range. So this region is the south of Zhengwen River and a part of Jiayi County in Taiwan. So Tsou people, there are two different spellings. So you can see the COU and then the TSOU. And these are two official spellings of Tsou community. And they are peace-loving people, and the spirit of sharing is at the core of Tsou's culture. So this research is mainly about Tsou's traditional fishing knowledge collected from the Pangu tribe and Inausna tribe. Next. So part one, the first stage of the study is through community-based participatory research. We believed that TEK is a continuum of knowledges, practices, and beliefs on how natural resources are used sustainably. And indigenous peoples pass on this knowledge to live with the environment through traditional songs, stories, and beliefs. So we learn about Tsou fishing culture and the language of the TEK with the Tapangu elders and researchers from local culture centers. As you can see from the pictures, we are conducting fieldwork interviews with the elders on site. Continue. Okay, after collected TEK, then we transform the information into a place-based STEAM mobile exhibit. So we co-developed this exhibit called Tsou Freshwater Fish mobile exhibit that integrated Tsou TEK and science. Then the local school teachers, the local schools train the teachers and students to use the exhibit to narrate and share in various schools and communities. So in the picture, you can see the teachers and students involved in the training and a picture of the mobile exhibit. Next. Okay, so inside the exhibit, you can see that there are some teaching materials. There is like a game materials to play interactive game and illustration cards of different fish species and the specimens and the teaching ed boxes, some handouts, materials, and the science drawing tools, and then, yeah, some more art tools. So the exhibit includes both Western science and Tsou's TEK about fishing culture and fish, and also the sustainable value of fishing culture, and the tools that were used were also introduced. So here, the teaching aid box includes some instructional materials for teachers. So it includes all the TEK that were collected from the elders. They were documented and shared in the handbook for teachers. And so in the handbook, teachers can know about the different science knowledge, TEK knowledge, and also the values behind these knowledge. So there are 4 lessons. Okay, first, to introduce the fish, and the second, have activities on drawing, sculpturing, and printing of the fish, and then sharing about the fishing culture and river preservation. And then lastly, the narrator training and practice of what they've learned throughout the first few lessons. Next. So lesson 1, students learn about how and why different species of fish evolve different features of fins, colors, and shapes to adapt the local natural environment. So this is an example of a fish that was studied by the schools. Next. Within this lesson, 8 species of Tsou freshwater fish were introduced. So these were the fish that were commonly found in the local rivers, and they were identified by the elders, and the academic names and then the native names were also checked and reviewed by the elders. Next. So after checking the names of the fish, students learn to speak the mother tongue of the Tsou freshwater fish. Okay. Okay, so these names were also, these pronunciations were also recorded for future teaching materials. So in the next few years, when new cohorts of youth, if they would like to learn about the fish, they can just play the sound clips. Next. So in the next lesson, after learning, the names, the knowledge, the features, they further use arts, scientific drawing and sculpturing and printing to observe further in detail and to get to know the fish through different representations. Okay, next. And in the next lesson, they learned about the TEK of fishing culture. So what were the traditional ways of fishing and, the stories, the myths, and the sustainable values in preserving and protecting the river were taught in this lesson. So here you can see that different tools were used in different parts of the day or different seasons, and different names were involved. Okay, next. Next. Okay, so here you can see a special fishing method, Siyonggu. During this fishing method, Tsou people decide on the size of this instrument based on the width of river. So they will observe the natural environment to see how big of the fishing instrument that they need. And this particular instrument is called yonggu, is used to guide fish into the bamboo container and can be harvested at the break of dawn. And as you can see, this instrument, it has great gaps. So only the large fish can be taught and the small fishes will be let go. So this is a sustainable value kind of embedded in the design of the instrument. And here you can hear a traditional fishing song. The song is about a fisherman meeting a cheerful crab, and crab plays a sustainable role in culture in Tsou's mythology. There's no sound. Uh-oh. Okay, so you can see that the students learned about the song and also understood the meanings, the cultural meanings of the songs, and were able to perform. Okay, next. So in the next lesson, the last lesson is to pack everything that they've learned into a short narration. And so students were trained and they practiced numerous times on, all of the things that they learned. Okay, next.
还在处理。
Okay, so in this last stage, the training to be narrators, students learn about the knowledges, the languages, the cultures, the practices and beliefs related to their indigenous land, especially the freshwater fish and rivers. And they went to different parts of they went to different communities, and they also went back to the National Museum of Marine Biology and Aquarium to share with the general public about their homeland. So they were, through this sharing and presenting of what they know about their homeland, they have developed a great sense of place. And this great sense of place was shown in the confidence and in the ability to deliver what they know. Okay, next. Okay, here's a picture of an event at the museum and the aquarium. Okay, next. So some of the research data that were collected show some of the outcomes that came out of this study. So first, the teacher interviews. Teachers said that this opportunity allowed them to integrate and promote, this TEK, the traditional knowledge to the students, the schools, and this course served as this course module served as a good example and is very helpful. And second teacher said that they found it very difficult, so they felt weaker, not being able to integrate culture into the curriculum as well as assessments. And they mentioned assessments because they said that if they don't provide culturally relevant assessments to reinforce their learning, students may not grasp the shared meanings of culture. They may just remain to be maybe deduced to simply personal experiences and not understanding, the deeper cultural meanings behind these knowledges or activities. So culturally relevant curriculum and assessment is something that they found very important, but difficult to do. And this activity allowed them to have an example. And a third teacher said they've never thought about having children to be small narrators, to be teachers, small teachers, to introduce their own culture. This teacher agrees with this this idea and really appreciates it. Okay, next. Some interviews with the students also connected, show that the students connected what they learned to their prior experiences. So the first student said that the student has caught fish with the father, but the student was never ever be able to observe or know the characteristics of the fish. So this the course, the lessons allow the student to learn more about the fish that he or she was never able to have this understanding before. And the second student shared about an emotion about the river that he has experienced when he was 5, and the drawing of the fish also allowed him to have more connection to the river, kind of transforming, the negative experiences to a more positive, more opening to understand the fish more now. And the female student 3 said also the drawing was very helpful to be more aware of the characteristics of the fish. And the students chose a fish to draw, and so this female student seems to form a special bond to this particular species. Okay, next. Okay, school leaders also mention that the challenging that they're facing and the opportunities that this collaboration brought to overcome the challenge. Next. Okay, so from these interview data, we found that integrating TEK, language and culture, is an effective way to promote and preserve Tsou language and culture. And the collaborations allowed to center, language justice, by ensuring the continuity of the indigenous languages through teaching, integrating it into the school curriculum, and collaborating with informal institutions. So at the end, we found that the students, learn about knowledges, languages, cultures, practices, and beliefs related to their indigenous land, especially the fish and the rivers. And they developed a great sense of place through sharing what they learned. Next. We present some recommendations based on our findings. First, the indigenous knowledges, practices, and beliefs should be integrated in the education by using an immersive way to let students learn their native tongue naturally. And we collected some of these knowledges, languages, cultures, but from the elders, and got them reviewed by the elders. So just to make sure that they were correct. And so this is also an important thing to make sure that it is done. And then second, promoting native tongue as a right to speak. Give the power of language back to its indigenous place. So by centering the native tongue in the learning of the local indigenous school, empowers the students and the communities their right to choose what they find valuable to learn. Next. So these are our references. Thank you for listening.